And so we meet for the third time, looking at this title, Travel with Light Luggage. And over the last two meetings that we've had, we probably discovered that this really is a very essential question. How do we travel? Why do we travel? And to travel well, what do we take with us? When we came to the end of yesterday's sharing, we discovered that there were still many questions that I had in mind and experiences that I wanted to explore. And I hope you've had the time since then to do that. Because now we're just going on. The title that we started with, from why we travel to how we travel and where we're traveling to, has brought us to the question, traveling with luggage means really traveling with the essential, and that is everything. And that is where we're going to start today. Yesterday we talked about the essentials in life for the journey, and how our understanding of what is really essential for me to make a good life journey has changed many times as I've gone through the years. What I thought was really essential was to have a new bicycle when I was 7 years of age. It was quite a different answer when I was 27 and 57 and now 77. The essentials. For most of us, what seems to be really important, really necessary for a good journey through life, changes with our experience of the journey. And now, the human family, our human family, has had the same experience. What it is considered to be essential has changed through the many centuries we have been traveling together. What is essential? If we look back into our human family's history, from the very beginning, when we first emerged with reflective consciousness and became the human species, we have been on life's journey. And slowly we discovered that we have to find the essential and let everything else go, or we cannot journey well. At the beginning, our ancestors journeyed on foot, whether it was they got up in what we now call the Kalahari Desert and started to walk, or across what we now call the outback of Australia, or the vast plains, what we now call North America. Our original people, our original family. And when we started to walk and journey away from the home base, we discovered what it was absolutely essential to take with us. Water, yes, water. In order to live as a human being, we need water. And we're not always sure of finding a supply of water. Certainly our ancestors were not, when they went by foot into the unknown. So they had to carry the essential water with them. And we have some stories that are very, very useful for us now. Let's take the one from the Mayan Indians. When they set out to travel, they carried water with them. And on the journey, they searched for and found water. And when they did, they always made a mark on the earth, on the stones, a sort of circle going into the center. But this was for other travelers, to say to them, look, here I found water. You can look here too. The mark for those others of the family who are on the journey. And then if we go to the Mayan Indians, the great civilizations of the Mayan Indians, now more, we think of them more in the continent we call South America, the Mayan Indians also walked and they needed to find water. But they carried the water with them as much as they could for the journey. And they've also given us a good piece of advice for our journey today. When you're carrying the essential water, keep going. Keep your mind fixed on the goal of the journey. So if you hear people coming up behind you, don't turn round and start getting involved in unnecessary things and conversations. Keep going. And if the people coming behind draw level with you and call across a greeting, then greet them, but keep going. But if the people who've just caught up with you on the journey call out to you and say, "Have you got water? Can you spare me water?" Then you stop and you hand over all the water you have. Global family. When we think of ourselves today, could we so easily hand over what we consider, rightly so, consider to be absolutely vital for our journey, to give to others who haven't got the possibility of finding it for themselves? Those in need, can we share quite so easily and readily the essentials of life? We have a lot to learn from our past and to reflect on. Carrying the essential and being willing to share it, because we are conscious of the fact that as human beings, we are one family. We're one species, but we're also one family because we came from the one source. And the things that we consider essential are not ours. They're gifted to us. We're not the owners. So they're there to be shared with those who really need them. What a lot we have learned from that. Why have we become so selfish? The word is inaccurate because it's not the self, it's the ego. My pride in what I am and what I need, and my determination to keep it for me. Only if there's something left over can I give it to you. In hunting for the essentials in our lives, we discover this aspect of ourselves too. The pride and the ego, the selfishness. One of the things, and we started with the coronavirus and what it has made us wake up to, it's made us wake up to the journey. It's also made us wake up to this. The essentials are there for everyone. And we've heard many, many, many stories through the television and the newspaper and by word of mouth of people waking up to those who live in their normal everyday environment, who are suffering, who have great needs. They lived with them, they passed them on the way to work, in the commuting, in the supermarkets, and were totally unaware that these other members of our family were suffering, were in need, and we were keeping it all for me. That we're not really one family. Now, you say, well, we're not in the times of our earliest ancestors. It's not just a simple question of saying, "Here, share my jug of water," or my gourd of water. The complexity of today's life makes it very difficult to share equally and freely all the gifts we have on planet Earth. Difficult? Not if we really want to. So that is the basic question. Now we are traveling when we're brought into a crisis situation and we notice that old lady down the road, she has no one to help her. I've passed her every day, but I didn't notice until now. And those children, wearing the same clothes every day as they go to school, they're kept clean, but there's nothing new. There's nothing more comfortable. We have endless stories now, thank goodness. Endless stories of how one of the wonderful benefits of having to come through a crisis, one of those wonderful benefits is for us to look around and notice the people we are traveling on life's journey with and who travel with us. We don't travel alone. We're all traveling, and we're all traveling through this planet Earth, through the same space-time. Globalization is not a political speech or an academic discussion. It's the reality of, do I share the water which both you and I need? And do we share the joys and the excitement as well of being alive on planet Earth? Sharing our necessities. It's good that the coronavirus has woken us up to the essential relationship we have with each other. We travel as one family on this earth, and we do not own the earth. It's gifted, it's to be shared all the time. So this is a big message for each one of us to sit with and look at today and see, where does this need to share the essential touch my everyday life? We travel, yes, we travel as a family. We're not traveling alone. My journey affects everybody else's. Their journey affects mine. Can we work to make it a good journey for all of us? But there is one aspect in which we do travel alone. Our human relationships, however loving, caring, faithful they are, still leave us alone. We cannot share the life I have with anyone else. The physical journey, yes, and the water that my body and mind need. At the physical level, yes. But the innermost journey, or the inner journey rather, of thoughts and desires, we can't really share that with anyone. We try and put it into words. We can share descriptions of our experience and our needs. We cannot share the experience. So, seemingly contradictory, we travel through life's journey both as part of an enormous family and at the same time alone. Fully alone? No. Because we make the journey, yes, as a person, a human being, a transitory human being that was born into this life and will die in this life. But we also discover on the journey that that is not the whole truth of who I am. I'm not just a body, psyche, transitory person. The one who brought everything into existence, the one who alone creates, the one who alone brought me into existence and keeps me in existence, does not share this transitory life. We've used all sorts of words, and the word again that we use most commonly is spirit. It isn't bound to be born or live and die. The spirit is something quite different. The spirit is the creator of all that is of this transitory existence, including me and you and everybody else. I come from that spirit. I travel in that spirit. I will eventually leave this body and be totally back in that spirit which we have used the name God for, or many other names as well. The name is not so important. Experiencing the reality is. This is the reality. This is the essential truth of the journey. The one we come from and go to and travel within. Spirit, self is another word. And you may have a name for the journey you're making. You may have think of it as my life's journey is an adventure, or it's an exploration, or it's a research, or it's a pilgrimage, or. But really, what is it? It's a journey of self-discovery. I discover as I come from the source of birth and travel to the end of this physical journey that I am more than this body psyche. The truth, the reality, the essential. This is what the journey is all about. Discovering myself. I think we've got enough questions to go on with tonight and tomorrow, and on and on and on. Remember, this was what we came to do. Just to reflect on the life I have lived, on the life I'm living, on where I am now, on this journey where I travel with the essential, which is everything.